What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. So I wanted to just hammer this home a little bit because I know a lot of people keep on asking me about this and asking me to talk to Trey and Matt and everybody about this to understand where their head is when it comes to exit strategies. Know that everybody's exit strategy is different. And I wanted to let everybody know that just because I have a certain thought about it doesn't mean it's the right thing. I did do a lot of research and understand that one piece, or the way that I'm looking at it might be a little bit better. But then again, like I said, everybody has their own opinion. And if they feel like their way is going to be a little bit better, then they would go that route. So I wanted to talk about exit strategies yet again. Let's continue to talk about this, continue to hammer this home, because if people don't understand what they should do when it comes to exiting, then they're never going to really understand the overall situation and what they gain out of it. So hopefully, like I said, some whales can watch this, and people that hold some large positions can watch this and get some sort of information. So before I get started in this, make sure you guys hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button for more videos like this one. And make sure that you get your free stocks with Webull down below. Don't forget to check out some of the links in the description. It does help out the channel. Now, I want to go through some strategies that I've seen from other people, from other YouTubers, from other, apes, other holders of AMC. And it may have changed because times have changed. You never really know exactly what could happen. So the first person, obviously, I wanted to talk about was Trey. So if you didn't know, like, he talked about his exit strategy a while ago, which it may have changed. I don't know if it is the same, but I think he has this mindset to where he's going to sell on the way down. And I think that could be a decent strategy depending, like, who you are and, where you're holding, how many you're holding and all of that. If you're holding 20K, that's obviously going to be difficult by my standards. But if you're holding, like, 5K, 10K, it could be something that may give the hedge funds a little bit more, but can also take away. So again, I'm not, throwing any type of shade to anybody. I just want to be able to hammer home exit strategies, because what we can say is that we can buy a stock, we can do everything we want with the stock, but the problem is, the most difficult part is selling that position. And I'm not saying that anybody is wrong in any case, because if you make money from it, you're doing a good job. However, for a squeeze, it's a different situation. You can sell all the way at the peak, and if you are an ape and you're holding a lot of the positions, you're holding 100,000 shares, and you sell all the way at the top, that makes it difficult, in my opinion. Now, there are other strategies to where they basically say that you can cover your initial investment right from the start, maybe sell half when you get halfway there, or sell, some at the top or whatever, and then sell some on the way down as well. So basically, you're selling in the beginning, in the middle until you get to the peak, at the peak, in the middle when you get to half, and hopefully you don't really have any left after that, right? Because depending how fast it's going to fall, that could be the case. Now, I know that there are some other strategies out there that may have been completely changed, right? Not only just people selling on the way down or selling at the peak. Know that in my example, it's going to be very tough for people to sell at the peak. Not only is it going to be extremely tough, it's going to be, time consuming. It's going to be time sensitive. Like, it's going to be difficult based on the fact that, softwares or platforms may restrict trading. You never know what could happen there. Could also be to a point to where people sell too much at one time, and it's like going to a bank and trying to take out all of your money at one time. It's very difficult for you to do it alone. Now imagine if everybody's doing it. It's going to be very difficult. So I wanted to be able to talk about this, and maybe we can have a conversation before it actually squeezes, and talk to everybody and say, look, this needs to be that strategy. Understand that you never know what could happen. Protect yourself. Obviously, hold on to the bulk of your shares, but protect yourself. You never know what could happen. You can get all the way back down to $30 or $100 from getting up to $100 because of the fact that they restricted trading or restricted buying and selling. You never know. So ultimately, like I said, I wanted to hammer home, and this may be all over the place, but I wanted to hammer home the fact that I believe that this is the best exit strategy out there, right? For everyone, for the overall squeeze, to gain a bunch of money, not to be greedy, If you're greedy, it's a different story. You can go on about your day, and then the squeeze will be derailed, and then you won't be a person that's actually caring about other people. Now, what we can do, the best strategy, and if you haven't seen any of my other videos, then definitely check them out because I talk about it all the time. But the best strategy is, if you have, let's say, 10,000 shares, the best strategy is to pick multiple places on the way up. Pick multiple places, whether you want to cover your initial investment, whether you want to cover your initial investment plus profit, and then, let the rest ride, or let the rest ride to a certain point, sell that portion again, let the rest ride to a certain point, sell that portion again. Literally, when we get to the peak of the squeeze, we should have more people holding less shares. So if we get to a point to where, let's say I sell 100, will hedge funds grab it? Probably not. You'll have a lot of FOMO buying that will actually grab that position. So then they'll grab 100 shares, which means it goes to other people, which means that more people may be holding less. Or you might have another person that looked to grab a lot more. Most likely, it's going to be a new person that got in to buy more. As long as we continue to grow this thing and don't just have whales sell off. But this is all dependent on whales not selling off. So again, you can have that set up to where you take your initial investment plus profit at whatever you want, whether it's 100, 200, 3,000, whatever it is. Then you're going to see that increase to maybe 200 or 300. Maybe take a little bit there, take $10 or 10 shares out of it, or 20 shares or whatever. Very low amount. You're gaining a decent amount, and you're good. Then you continue to ride that up, and you're only letting go in little bits and pieces, giving the hedge funds little crumbs that they can chew on and, basically pay loaves of bread for. So I'm thinking ultimately this is the best option that we could do. And then if you wanted to save maybe 10 to 100 or 1,000 or whatever you wanted to sell, depending how much you have at the peak of the squeeze, it wouldn't be that person selling 10,000 or 100,000. It would be that person selling 100. And so ultimately, that's the way that I'm feeling about the squeeze, and that's the best opportunity, because if we have 100,000 shares at that peak, they define where that peak price is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They define where that peak price is, and they're basically going to say, I want to sell all this position because I want to make $100 million or whatever it is. They're going to make a crazy amount of money while everybody else ends up suffering, while they give the hedge fund so many shares at the peak point. And everybody else is basically, it's going to go from, let's say, 100K down to like 70K, literally drop a crazy amount within minutes, right? Because it's going to create fear within other whales, fear within other people, and there's going to be a lot of limit orders and asks that are going in where the bid-ask spread is going to be absolutely ridiculous. It's going to be so far apart that we will not be able to understand that we won't be able to understand that we can't get filled at the current price. You know what I mean? So again, I don't want to make this video long, but I wanted to hammer home the thought of an exit strategy. And it's no offense to anybody that has a certain exit strategy. And if you want to hold for a certain way, I'm not going to hold it against you. Go ahead and do that. But I'm saying that for majority of the people, it makes sense for you to cover your own base, because you think about it. If it gets to a point to where they start restricting buying and selling, then it may be a huge issue for you to even sell at the top, which means that you lost out on so much going on the way up. So if you can get to a point to where you sell little bits and pieces, and yes, it's going to give you less money. If you had, let's say 800 shares and it got to $10,000, that's $8 million, right? But if you started selling on the way up, it could be a point to where it got to the peak and it's only $2 million or $3 million. However, you gained about 300,000, 400,000, maybe even more than that at the bottom. Or if you got to about $5,000 worth of value, you could have profited for half of that amount and, gained $4 million, or half of that if you only wanted to sell half your position. So ultimately, you have to understand exactly what this strategy is going to be. It's hard to think about, but I just don't want to see anybody sell all the way at the peak, because you never know what could happen. There's so many variables that take place, and I want to make sure we hammer this home, that that everyone knows that this will be the absolute best strategy for the survival of the squeeze, not just for each person, for the survival of the squeeze, to continue the length of the squeeze. Anyways, I could talk about this all day. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for more videos like this one. Also, make sure you get your free stocks with Webull down below. Don't forget to check out some of the links in the description. It does help out the channel, as well as joining the Discord group or joining as a channel member But that's pretty much it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.